Okay, we're going to go over decimal place values all the way to the thousandths. Now, we did go over some of this yesterday. Take a picture. Remember, when you're looking at your chart, your place value chart, think of this as, see, I'm going to shade these, get a bigger circle. Okay, you think of each line as how many? 10. So if I were to say this as a decimal, I would say 0. How many tenths place value are there? 1. So I'm going to say 0.3 because 3 of them are shaded. I shaded 3 of them. Okay, on this one, how many of them are shaded? On the tenths, Ariana? That's what, you were looking at the other one. On the tenths, there's one whole line. 12. So you say 1, and then there's 2 of this. So this goes to the, what place value is that 2 in? This is in the hundredths. Okay, so this is where you got to remember the place values, guys. So I'd write that as 0.12. Okay, now they've also broken this down. I noticed I was a little incorrect here. You see, this is being broken out of here. So they took my hundredths place value and they broke it into how many? 3. So it's actually 0.123. That makes sense? Sorry, I was treating this as a separate chart. It's actually part of this one. Make sense? Okay, now when you are writing decimals to fractions, you can use this decimal place value chart. Yep, you can use that one too. So if you're looking at this, excuse me, you have your decimal place value chart. I've given you one that you've all glued in your book, right? Yep, Gabe just showed me his. You can convert this to a fraction, okay? All of these are fractions with no mixed numbers because there's no whole numbers. You see how the ones is always a 0? So it's always going to be just a fraction. Now, if there was a number 1 in any of these, then you would say 1 and 8 over whatever. Okay? But since there's not. So what place value is this? Tenths. Make sure you put that TH. So when I look at a number that's in this, I can say 8 over 10. What place value is this one? So I can say 8 over 100. And the last one?
Thousands.
So 8 over 1,000. Make sense? Now that's, you notice these are zeros in front of it. If there was an actual number here, like say that was 1, then I would put 18 over 1,000. If there was a 1 here. Okay? So let's do a couple of these. All right, so we're going to write the decimal that you see in this picture. First of all, do I have any that are completely full, like on this, any decimal charts that complete?
No.
No, so I know there's no whole number, so I'm already going to say 0 point, right? First, I look at the biggest one, so this has an entire line filled, so that's 0.1. 1, then how many of these squares are filled?
8.
So 8, and then you see the last square, they broke it up into how many?
2.
So I say 0.182. Okay, now how would I write that as a fraction? What's the last number of this number? What place value is that? So I'm going to say 182 over whatever the last place value is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everybody? Any questions? So you all know how to write a decimal from the place value chart and then convert it to a fraction? Yes? Okay. Let's do one of the other examples. All right, so we're going to complete this chart. You guys can do this on your worksheet as I do it. So the decimal is 0.1. For the first chart, they want you to do 10 times as many. So you would say 0.1 times 10. Well, when I multiply times 10, which way does the decimal go?
10, that's right.
When you're multiplying, which way does it go? No, it goes to the right. So 0.1 would become 10. So if I take 0.03 times 10, I grab this decimal and I move it to the right. So it becomes 0.3. Right? And this last one, 0.5, is also multiplying times 10. So I'd get 5. Does that make sense? Okay, now what if I'm doing 1/10 of it? So I'm actually taking 0.1 and I'm dividing by 10. Well, if I went to the right to multiply, which way do you think I go on division?
Left.
So I'm going to take it and go this way. So I'm going to say 0.01. Does that make sense? Okay, what about the next one? So I take this one right here, 0.03 divided by 10. So I'm going to take my decimal and go which way? To the left. So it becomes 0. How many zeros?
0, 0.
2 zeros. Okay, and then my last one, 0.5 divided by 10. So again, I'm going to take it to the left, and I'm going to say 0.05. Now this only works with tens, guys. If it's 0.5,
I needed a pencil.
if it's 0.5 divided by, or times 1/8, then you actually have to do the division. You can't just move the decimal. Does that make sense? But if it's by tens, you can just move the decimal around. Any questions on this? Bless you, sir. All right, so you should have already done numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 on your paper. You need to do 5, 6, and 7 on your own, and then you need to IXL G2.